On the outside I was fine, but inside I was all torn up. How do you think that felt? How do you think that felt for me? It could finally come off. Although I didn't feel that much more free. I didn't feel that much more alive. But that didn't matter to Simon, as he just continued to insist. Insist I get out of the house. Insist I get back out there. And so we were at the gym. It was early. I hadn't even had breakfast yet. I still didn't have full motion of my arm. The treadmill seemed relaxing. I used to walk a lot to clear my head and get away from her. I remember the last time I went on a walk. And so did my arm as the pain crept back in. I didn't have a lot of clothes, especially anything that seemed gym-fitting. Simon gave me some shorts. They were bright, unlike my mood. Was it possible to change that? Could I buy a change of clothes? Could I buy a better mood? Is that what rich people do? Will a change in wardrobe change me for the better? And suddenly he was next to me. Simon was walking at my pace. No more, no less. I was sure, based on all factors, he could go a lot faster than that. Was he slowing down for me? Did I bring people down with me? Why do I question everything? And then suddenly, she was next to me. Emily didn't stay at my pace. In fact, Simon sped up to her pace until he was ready for a smoothie. I didn't understand smoothies. Maybe it was the state between liquid and solid I didn't like. A state I felt like I was in most of the time. And then I was done. My legs didn't feel any different than before. Maybe a bit tired. I just stood there, unsure of what to do next. Maybe I could buy a van and just live in it. So there I was, in the middle of a crowded gym, minding my own business, when a voice startled me. Traps, biceps, whatevers. I mean, this guy had them all, and they were big. I wasn't sure what anybody wanted with me. Turns out, he wanted nothing to do with me, literally. I was standing in his shot. I was in his frame. I was in the background of his footage. I couldn't quite understand. Did he own the gym? Was I on some hidden camera show? Before I had time to respond, Emily did it for me. She said the key words: public, place, people's privacy, main character syndrome. I could follow along enough to see who the villain in this situation was. And just as this guy got red hot, another entered the frame. Simon was ready. He had his phone out, and I expected him to film an outburst. But that did not happen. Simon was now complaining that this man was in the frame of his video. Before the man had time to react, he noticed the entire gym watching. He just popped and twisted pinkies on his hands as he tried to calm himself. And just like that, he was gone. All this ruckus over a weight bench. Could I make a scene over something I cared about? Simon got me a smoothie. I guess it's my fault for not telling him I don't like them. It was pretty good. Not good enough to get me to emote out loud, but it was close. Simon needed a spot. I guess life just moves on. I moved on behind him as he loaded the weight. Wait, wasn't this a bad idea? Could I lift this much? Simon's weight seemed less than what I expected. I guess I wasn't weighing him down like I did her. Finally, we were done. I expected to go home, but I accidentally told them I had nothing to do. I found myself behind the counter at their store. My arm was against my belly. I knew it had to be straight, but it was hard with the pain. Simon seemed like a pain to Emily. He was practically giving some of their stock away at some of these prices. They offered me some cheddar if I just sat here and handled the register while they went out to buy things from other thrift stores. Not that they needed to, with the shelves as full as they were here. I finally understood the monotony of day-to-day business as I sat waiting for nothing. And then nothing came. The glass door opened slowly as feet shuffled in. It took exactly 4 minutes for him to get to the counter, and he didn't stop to look at anything. He just went to one spot before making his way to the counter. I was pretty sure a hip would give out before he made it. It didn't. He just placed a couple old records on the counter. I glanced at the sign, lumping prices of items together. 10 for 2. 3 words is all I needed, but it wasn't all he needed. "Hello, young fellow. Good price? Good price. Never seen you here?" He only took pauses to breathe and pull change from his wallet. "Busy day? I see you all in here by yourself." What did he mean? It was empty in here. And then suddenly he tapped my arm. It was my right arm, so no harm, no foul. "What's wrong with you? Mute or something?" How could he ask that? I just spoke to him. I almost felt like I can't get the word to come to mind. I almost felt like rejecting his request to speak. "Saw these guys back in the day. They killed." And then he just went on, tapping his records and reminiscing. His voice started to really get to me. It was just the wrong amount of raspy. "I bet you've been to some killer shows." Why would he think that? What do I give off that tells him that? I never went anywhere without her. "No, I haven't." It was quiet and somber, but I spoke. "I have actually never been to a live show." He seemed baffled at my words, as his mustache jumped. "Wow! To think! People that never seen an experience like this actually exist." He just held up his record, displaying a cover to entice people to listen to a band. Again, but this time live. "Well, what kind of music do you listen to?" I feel like I've had this conversation before. "I'm not sure." He just scoffed. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. He quickly pulled out a little piece of paper and started writing down what he could. "I work at a radio station. You should come by sometimes. I could help you find what you like. Say, what's your name?" I just blinked. "James?" I just stared. "Why are you doing this?" That's all I could think to say. He just smiled. "Oh, James, my boy, I've lived a long life, and I've still got more to live. Why do anything?" And then he just turned around after taking his change. I watched the strange man walk to the door, the man with no name, until I looked down at the paper. With an address and a number, there was a name, Randall. I always feel like there are these moments where life could pause, but this was not one of them. Suddenly the door opened again. Emily and Simon had returned. They had with them a lot of clothes and a couple pieces of furniture. I could have said nothing. I could have stayed quiet. Neither of them even asked. I just held up the paper and started telling them. And suddenly, I knew more about him, or at least his personality, as Simon talked about the man who comes in every now and then to gush about music. I felt out of my element. This conversation, like the last, was too much for me. What would we even talk about at a radio station? And then my eyes shifted again. The door was moving slightly until it opened. But there was no one there. Well, that's a lie. There was a dude with his phone in vertical, filming something. Was this a phenomenon related to a ghost opening the door and a man filming it? Did I believe in ghosts? The shop's newest customer made himself known as he brashly filmed a little crow making his way into the shop. A rack covered in car chargers became Rocky's perch as excitement filled the room in simple words like dude, yo, and damn. Is this how viral videos are made? Finally, we were in the car again. Well, not all of us. Rocky didn't like car rides. He preferred to circle from above. Simon and Emily said I should do it. I'm not against it. It just feels strange. Should I just show up at a place because I was invited? I thought about it until we got home. Rocky took his spot on my shoulder as we hit the stairs. Again, I was pulled into more conversation about what I should be doing, but I was tired. I was still going to cook dinner. I just wanted to relax a bit by myself. But I guess I was never truly alone. That moment I lay down, Rocky took his spot on my chest. My chest felt tight, just a little. It wasn't the bird, but more likely the absence of a person I couldn't get out of my mind. Was she thinking of me? Apparently, somebody was, as a head popped up my stairs. Oh, sorry. I should have knocked. Amaya, with her nervous energy, just knocked on the wood. I was tired of questioning everything. Come on up. I just invited her in. I might act like I hate people, but that isn't true. For dinner, I'm making tacos. She didn't seem to be listening to me as she scoped out the room. She was like a deer walking into a clearing. I don't care about dinner. Her words were so abrupt, and then she heard what she just said. That's not what I meant. I just came up here to check on you, and not to ask about dinner. I sat up with Rocky in my lap. I understand a little about why you're here. She kept her eyes on the window as she went on. I'm sorry so much has happened to you. What exactly did she know? Did it matter? It's not so bad. Honestly, I think I'm happier now. There was a smile with my words. Even if it was faint, it was there, and I was probably sure it was real. Even if my mood was bad, my overall feeling was good, I think. Maya's mood seemed to be good. Rocky seemed to think so, too, as he jumped to the top of his cage, saying hi to her. I wish I could be as happy as a mindless animal. Soon Amaya was gone. I think she wanted to check up on me. It's funny, really, because I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to be checking up on her. And then I was making dinner. It was important to warm the pan up first, and then turn down the heat. I used to cook a bit for her. I'm done. I don't want to think anymore. Whenever something traumatic happens, you're told to relax by everyone except the people that want money from you. I could have died. But because I survived, I owe money to people, even though it's not my fault, even though everything is my fault. James! Don't think you can get away from me so easily. Emily surprised me. Shocked, really. She had a white apron on. She even had an extra for me. I didn't fight. I just let her take control. Apparently she liked to cook. My hair was bothering her, though. I guess it was just long enough for her to pull it all back into the tiniest little tail on the back of my head. I was afraid. I was afraid the longer we spent time together, that would only bring her to have distaste for me. You two look adorable! James, don't be trying to steal my woman. Simon was almost just as happy as she was. I wouldn't say I hated cooking, or even that it bothered me in some way. I just didn't know how to get the level of enjoyment out of it that they were getting. And then Amaya appeared, but not like before. Without my hair in my face, I could really see her and not just look at her. Maybe it was what she was wearing or the look she gave me, but it made me feel naughty. Was attraction wrong, or was I just made to feel that way? The better question was I born like this, or did she make me into what I am today? Or was it the pills, the weed, the anxiety, the new environment, the free time, the darkness inside, or just the pretty girl in the kitchen watching us cook? I think it was her eyes. They were kind and soft. Amaya did more than just watch us. Little things I noticed. She moved her hair behind her ears, tapped her fingers on the table. Her eyes darted to glance up at me when I wasn't entirely looking her way. I wasn't sure how to feel about her. Feelings are hard to calculate. If my sight of a person fills me with emotion. Is that love? What if we have a lot in common, or we both get along easily? Is it possible to meet someone who matches all three? If I had a choice, my thoughts would have stopped at, "Hello, I'm James." Don't worry. I'm not talking about ending anything. I just think I'm better off alone. I'm just so bothersome. That was a long word for her vocabulary, but I guess we were a long way away from anything resembling normal. But to her, everything we did was normal. It was the classic normal I told people instead of the truth. My bruises told the truth nobody wanted to hear, and if they weren't ignoring the obvious, then I was no longer friends with them. All her idea. They all were. I'm done thinking about her. Dinner was done. Well, it was made. Now it was time to eat. And everyone was here, even Rocky. And everybody seemed happy. Even me, as I began to laugh as Simon belted pain from adding too much hot sauce to his food.